Hey everyone, thanks for tuning back into the Saltwater Edge YouTube channel. Today we are back with another Boogie Minnow color variation. If you want to learn a little bit more about if color matters or just my thoughts on color, you can click this link to the first one. It's a bunker variation, and I talk a little bit more about color there if you are interested. This one is going to be a herring variation. We've got some herring already showing up. So thought it would be a timely time to show this pattern. I am using uni thread. This is the 6/0 size. If you break your thread a little bit often or you tie really tight, you can use the 3/0 size. This is the Silver Doctor blue thread. There's also light blue. Again, does color matter in the thread too much? I like to add a little bit of pop with the thread. So this is the Silver Doctor blue color. It's a little bit darker. I'm just gonna start by going up and down once with the thread on the shank like you would any other fly. This is the Mustad Heritage hook in a 2/0. You can use whatever your favorite hook is. I just like this wider gap on this style hook. But any, average shank length of a hook will be fine. Too long just doesn't work great for this pattern, and too short, you just don't have enough space. So just your standard shank length there. Whatever you like, we're just having fun.
You want it.
I'm going to take my white bucktail, the longest I have for the first tie-in section. It's just going to be sort of the platform of the fly.
That's all I'm like.
And the longest length we're going to work off of for the rest of the material. So just your longest pinch of bucktail there. Secure that down to the back of the fly just before the bend of the hook there. Just secure that down.
I think
Then the next step is going to be some saddle hackle or some strung Chinese feathers here. If you have a big white saddle, you can pluck very similar feathers off of that. But just some white ones. We're going to take 4. Going to do 2 on each side, flat against the shank like a deceiver.
Oh no, I'm gonna put traffic video.
Well, good ready talking.
I mean, if one of them that again, I might.
Red Fountain. Gonna cut the stems right about there. Gonna leave some of this fuzz.
Sorry. Yeah.
But you don't want the stem to be too thick because it's gonna be a challenge to tie in. So I'm just gonna cut them right about there.
Yeah.
Stack them right on top of each other. Then tie them flat against the side of the hook shank.
If
you're having trouble with those feathers kind of flipping around, just do a couple of loose wraps first and then tighten them down. And that'll help. If you're familiar with flat wings, this softer part here that we left on acts as a pillow, they would call it, to sort of cinch the stem. When you wrap it tightly, it helps it from running away on you. I'm going to repeat that same step on the other side with 2 more. Those saddle feathers.
Wait, no, this one's still cold. We did the wire pincha
to get them, stacking them on top of each other.
Before I'm not that you get up there, this coming about.
Couple loose wraps, then tightening it down.
Actually, there's that too. With the bad one. We had another doing that was.
Then we're going to take some flash for the herring. We are going to use a dark purple flashaboo and some red flashaboo. 2 or 3 strands of the purple, 2-ish strands of the red.
That's it. So all the creams.
Going to cut that flashaboo as long as the strand is.
And sit that weird.
Sort of catch the thread with it, fold it in half.
Interesting.
And then tie it down, couple of wraps. Same exact process with the red.
the day back. So you don't take and I'll mean this pity. Probably like I need to massive wallet.
Just like that.
Then there's
Then we're going to take our ostrich, and this is a very important part of this fly. Gives it a ton of movement, good amount of body. Yeah, but really tough to meet the movement you get, or really tough to beat the movement you get from ostrich on your fly. So I'm going to take like 8-ish strands of the herl.
one, you know, the computer stuff with that bone.
Clip it from the stem.
No, we'll start digging. It works months. Now,
Again, this is white, but if you want your herring pattern to be a little more blue, you can use some dyed blue ostrich or some pink if you want to add a little pink highlight in there.
you spit down on it. Yep.
We're just using white today. So got that ostrich tied in. You want the long herl. You want it to be about as long as those saddle feathers.
Yeah,
And then we're going to come in with some pink marabou. Just add a little bit of blush of pink to the side of those herring. Now, I think of herring as being pretty dark blue backed, little bit of pink, shine in the scales, and then just like most bait fish, that white or pearl belly. Just add a little bit of pink marabou, add some movement, gives it that little flavor of color there.
start. And before storage about in absolutely.
Secure that down right over the top.
You must it's
The marabou's fighting you because it just loves to dance. Just wet your fingers a little bit, slick it back, and it'll stay out of your way.
in this well and
And now we're going to take some white bucktail. Doesn't have to be long, super long. You have to use your longest bucktail for it, but I don't know, medium length. This is going to be our first tie-in section. We're going to do essentially 2 more. So this is going to be the longest of those 2 more. So just plan accordingly on that bucktail length. I'm just pulling out the shorter fibers there.
that deep electro.
Got my fingers all staticky, so this is going to get messy. That's all right. I'm going to lay the first clump down over the top. Just kind of let it spread around a little bit with my fingers.
Among the key odds, I'm going to say about
And a couple loose wraps, and then tighten it down. Really secure that down.
when it found
So I've kind of let it veil over the top and the sides a little bit. Then I'm going to do the same process on the belly.
what they that
Going to split the clump of hair to go around the hook shank as evenly as you can get it.
they get it.
Getting a couple loose wraps. Now I'm just going to spread it with my fingers, make sure everything's covered up.
They'll try and take that by different.
And then lock it down once oh, there we go. So if you do that, if you like to use a lot of tension like I just did, you're going to want to bump up to that 3/0 thread size in this uni thread. I do really like this uni thread. It's very grippy, and it's a round thread, so I find that it doesn't slide off of my bucktail tie-ins. I'm doing a lot of bucktail. So, the 6/0 is nice if you're trying to keep a low profile. Doesn't give you too much bulk, but it does break if you get a little excited when you're tying in some material.
Oh, you can
But it's all right. We've recovered.
why did I do that?
Bob Ross would call that a happy little accident. So we're happy. We're still happy.
What is
Just going to clean up those stray bucktails a little bit. All right. Clean that up a little. And we're back to it. So I've worked my thread a little further forward for the next tie-in point. Maybe a little bit more forward. There we go. This hair is going to be same way we're tying it in as the last clump, but it's going to be a little bit shorter.
Very cool.
Just to give us a good taper by the time we finish the fly.
And I've been for in about so yeah, we taste in.
Again, I'm sort of putting my pointer finger on top of it, and it's spreading it around half the shank a little bit there, just to make sure everything's veiled. You can do a couple loose wraps, check on it, kind of spread it around more if it needs it.
That's tight like that.
And then secure
Feeling
that hair down.
thank you very much. I came the water. I'll be in the water. And yeah.
Again, just repeating the steps here, top and bottom.
Right.
Just making sure it's a little bit shorter.
You did that. You got to get water.
Spreading it around the shank.
So that clouds are a lot.
Couple loose wraps.
Right back to yeah.
Spreading it evenly. A nice veil.
So back. We want to be line. Still starting with two.
And then just secure that in place.
Nice. To the spot. It be down. Take. Completely. So. I did that just one.
And if you see, maybe you didn't use a big enough clump and you didn't veil everything, just going to cut a tiny piece or a tiny clump of hair and just add that in there just to get everything covered up.
All right, that's right. And thank you. Thank you. Good. All right, we're on set.
I'm going to take this Ripple Ice fiber in Smolt Blue. Take a clump of that out. Just kind of pull it long and then tie in so you've got half of it going, about half of the length going one way, half the length going back over the fly. And you're just going to, again, sort of like you did with the bucktail, veil it around the body of the fly. Try and get it in even distribution there. Couple of wraps to lock it down. Then you're just going to fold the rest back. Kind of double up on the veil of flash around the fly. Then before we get to the final tie-in point, just going to add some lavender bucktail hair over the back here. Just start that darker back transition that herring tend to have. So I'm not going to spread this around the shank like I did with the other bucktail tie-ins. I'm going to keep it right along the top here. I'm just paying attention to how much space I'm leaving here because we're going to need that space at the end when we get to the head.
That's what the reason to bit. I will. We have to direct about and.
All right, now to finish off our body here. Where did it get to? There we go. I'm going to take this fin raccoon. We get this from Shore Fishing, or a Canadian company. They have a great selection of material and a really good quality. So I'm taking the white here. Again, you can switch up the color if you want. I'm just going to use a small clump of white. Stuff moves like marabou, but it's a little more durable. If you've tied with craft fur or Arctic fox, it's similar, but I like the guard hairs more. I like the texture of the hair more. I'm going to put this right on top of the fly here. Just gonna cut it a little bit shorter. You want it to end, you want its points to end, you know, before the bucktail, so you get a better taper. I'm just gonna put it on top and then use my fingers to work it around the fly in a veil. Couple loose wraps.
This.
Just make sure it's pretty even.
You get how much fly. I see on the winter, you're beginning to fly tiny. It's a little bit quite gum. So
Just clean up around the eye a little bit here.
that's first retain the fish up. We out
Now I can lock down that
on that spot.
raccoon.
It's big hard as God's here, but cat
Clean it up a little bit. Get it ready for the head.
has to send a public. So we went in it by the
And last step before the head is more ripple ice, but in the peacock color. This is going to give us the darkest back transition color for the herring.
bed forth.
I'm going to pull it long again, then fold it over
You should open that.
so I have a nice clean tie-in point.
What that? And so there is.
Just going to lay it over the back.
And he also does what I think that's original because how this.
Lock that down. Just work, and then you're going to work your thread to the back of our thread base here.
How to do about that. Thanks a lot. Hey, that feels good.
And now we're going to start on the head. For the head, I'm using this Duraflash tubing. It's like Easy Body. It's a little bit easier to work with. It also comes in different colors. So for the herring, I'm using blue.
When this thing or what?
I'm going to slide that over and then lock it down.
I'm just up to the stock.
With 8 solid wraps. You want this to be pretty tight.
Mice.
Now, until you feel like that's pretty secure, like so, and then I'm going to take some UV. It's going to be hard to whip finish around all this, so I'm just going to take some of the UV glue, put a couple drops on, and then spread it around. You want to spread the glue backwards as opposed to going in front of the thread, because if you go in front of the thread, you're going to run into some problems when we go to the next step, which is we're going to push this back, and if it hits a mound of UV, doesn't like that too much. So we're just trying to keep the UV back there. Then dry it up. Then we can cut our thread free, get it out of the way. Then we're going to go ahead and push that tubing backwards. It folds over itself. I'm going to kind of pull it along. That's about the size of the head we want. If we cut it here, we'd be in front of the eye of the hook, so we'd have to push it back even more. So to account for that distance, that's the shape I want. So I'm just going to pull it forward so I can cut it in front of the eye. And then I'm going to take my cauterizing pen, which is a very handy tool. You can use a lighter too. But just melt the tips of that a little bit. It's going to make it easier to tie, and it's going to keep it from fraying on you too. Just now I'm going to restart. Well, first I'm going to untangle the thread. There we go. Now I'm going to restart the thread on the just behind the eye of the hook there, and lock down that head there. Just got a good head shape.
As a
Clean up the nose there a little bit. Look nice and pretty.
I love it.
Going to add a drop of UV. You could whip finish it. If you have UV, I just add a drop, hit it with a light, and you're done. Going to go back over the rest of the thread later. Cut the thread and get it out of your way. And then add some eyes. These are the hairline eyes, the adhesive hairline eyes, 3D Super Pearl. You can use whatever eyes you have or whatever eyes you like. Each eye is on, and we've made sure that they are pretty lined up. We are going to go over the head and the eyes with some more UV. It's just going to add some durability to the fly, keep those eyes from going anywhere. We're just going to let that UV settle. Kind of spread it around. Make sure it's nice and even.
Good.
One last check to make sure the eyes are lined up, and I'm going to hit it with the UV light.
Yeah.
And there it is. That is the herring Boogie Minnow variant. The herring should be showing up soon. This will be the fly I'm putting on. Just a great, durable, effective fly. Tons of movement, casts easily. Yeah, so if you do enjoy this video, don't forget to like the video, subscribe. It helps us. It helps Eric. He puts a lot of time into editing the videos. And we'll see you in the next one.